There's some things I like about Starfield, there's other things I don't like about it. Having to explore the vastness of a planet on foot, that's just nonsense. It's just crazy to me after all the playtesting they did, somebody didn't raise their hand and say, you know what, I think we should add some sort of a fucking vehicle. And it's not just a convenience thing, it's an immersion thing. It makes no sense. You have all this amazing technology, but we're using our shoes to travel across these huge planets. I mean, come on. And having some sort of a vehicle isn't just about immersion, it isn't just about convenience or saving time. One of the biggest selling points about this game is the exploration, and that is actually getting in the way of that. You see an icon pop up on the map, it's like 1,000 meters away, and you're like, oh, I just ran 1,000 meters to get to this icon. And what makes it worse is you have to stop every now and then to catch your breath because you don't have unlimited stamina. And the sad part about it is some of these places off the beaten path have neat little rewards. Bethesda has a tendency to reward you for exploring. But in this game it almost feels like you're being punished for it as well. And while the loading screens might not be so bad on planets, that changes when you hit a big city like New Atlantis. They're going to become much more frequent. And some people are going to be less tolerant of that than others. Especially in a generation where we're actively trying to get away from loading screens. And then there's smaller stuff like when your companion puts away their weapon, it kinda just disappears into their pocket. Whereas in a game like Red Dead, they would be putting it in their holster. As far as the NPC models are concerned, it seems like the ones that you can actually interact with have better models than, say, a random pedestrian that you're walking by. Lip syncing could be better. However, some of you guys don't keep it real. You don't keep the same energy across the board. You'll give one game a pass because you fanboy it, while another game can be doing the same exact thing and you'll shit all over it. Word on the street is they started working on Skyrim 6, and all I have to say is if they're using the Creation 2 engine, please apply the brakes and figure something else out. Enough is enough. You've made $1 gazillion, Bethesda. Build a new engine. Outsource it to somebody else if you have to. You can afford it. Most of the things that we've complained about today is likely due to that engine. And so while yes, Starfield feels very much like a Fallout in space, and that's going to be enough for a lot of people, some of us were hoping that a lot of the things we didn't like about Fallout, many of which were due to the technical restrictions of the time, we were hoping some of that shit got left behind, and that it wouldn't carry over to Starfield. I feel like Bethesda made some great strides in this game, and it sucks to see some of that shit hold it back. Here's an example. If you're a mechanical type of person, gameplay is king to you. The shooting has to feel extremely tight and responsive, very fluid movements. You might have a hard time getting into these games. Some people feel that the combat in Fallout games feel a bit floaty and wonky, and they were looking towards Starfield to possibly change that. And while the combat might feel a little bit more refined, I don't think they did enough to change these people's mind. However, I still feel Starfield is one of the best sci-fi games you can play right now. That might be partly due because we've had a lot of shitty games lately, and when that happens enough, your standards may drop a little bit. That might have something to do with how I feel. All the charm you would expect in a Fallout or Skyrim game is here. The lore they created is very well done. Ship customization is cool. I still got a ways to go, but I actually ended up going back to my first account, the first character I made, because the game kind of starts off slow, and I just didn't feel like I wanted to redo a lot of that stuff again. I'll probably bounce back and forth at some point. The music is fantastic. And while many of the things I liked about Skyrim and Fallout are also in this game, I wish they were presented in a way that truly felt next level. And as far as I'm concerned, if we're just going to continue carrying on where mods fix everything and we're just okay with that idea, I don't think they're going to be in a rush to change anything. And so while it is important to complain about the things that they need to change, I feel some of those valid complaints are getting lost amongst the disingenuous shit. But I'll tell you who the real winner is, Baldur's Gate 3. They have been getting so much free publicity from this because Sony fanboys seem to have adopted that as their exclusive. And while it is a tremendous game, well worthy of Game of the Year, you're gonna have some people out here saying that it only won because of the stupid console war.